Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kedoshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Tanya are the letters Tuf, Nun, Yud, Aleph, and also spell the word Esan, which means strength. Tanya is a teaching, is a learning that gives great strength to the human spirit, to the soul, the soulfulness that we have. That not only we can prevail and survive, but we can thrive. Not only can we grow day in, day out, but we can impact the world in a very profound and meaningful way. It's to teach us the truth of God as creator, God as a personal relationship that we have with him that's beyond being a creator. And to teach us how we can see each other in a profound, soulful manner. Not that we just take up space and go through time, but how the space we take up and the time that we are occupied here in this world is profoundly important to God, that we transform ourselves, transform our environment to one that is not dark and unholy, but is full of light and full of goodness, kindness, and holiness. We conclude today the third letter from Igeres Kodesh, from the holy letters of the Alter Rebbe. In this letter, speaking about the great quality of tzedakah, of being charitable, literally giving money, literally, to hard think. You earned it, or you could buy your comfort, your pleasures of life with money. And therefore, it makes it difficult to spend it on someone else. Giving it doesn't have to be just to a person who needs. It can be the organization that helps in the needs of others. And it's a challenge. It therefore embodies what mitzvahs are all about, taking the material world and transforming it into something godly, taking something that can be dark, removed from the divine presence, and imbuing it with the divine presence, viewing yourself in the act of being charitable with divine presence. So when we do a mitzvah in general, and again, specifically act of tzedakah, of charity, we create a union between the infinite Ein Sof, the limitlessness of God, with the divine attributes of God that are limited, infinite and limited, come together as one. And that brings about that union, a new light. That first of all, two things. One is that we're enveloped by that light of God in the act of being charitable. We don't experience it now. The time to come of Mashiach, then we will. It's the Messianic era. But now we don't. But what we do also get at the same time is a ray of light that comes from that brings fruit, bears fruit, that is. Bears fruit in that we get long life and we get wealth and health from being charitable. From being charitable. What causes this descent? That being a union between the Ein Sof and the 10 divine attributes that are limited, Chachma, Bina, V'das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, Chabad, the 7 emotions, three parts of intellect, 7 emotions, is that we elicit that down here to create that union between God that is beyond and God that is eminent from within. And then it's brought down into this world because we elicited it through the performance of the mitzvah. This then is the meaning of the verse that we started this letter with from Isaiah, that God garbs himself with charity, with tzedakah. So as we spoke about, right, as a coat of mail. So we explained that at length yesterday. And also was the knights of yore, not only they wore a protective coat in battle that had individual scales to protect, but also to give movement. But also they wore a helmet. And here it calls it a helmet of salvation upon his head. So exacting in these words. Helmet means something that's beyond. And then it's on the head. So you have the idea that we just spoke about, of that which is beyond the limitlessness of God. So it's beyond the person, right? But it's yet also of the head. So there's beyond and head. All encompassing, as the helmet is, and then head, which is from within. Just the metaphor of it, right? So you have the union of the two things coming together. And then it says that becomes a salvation upon his head. So what does it mean? The word salvation in Hebrew is Yeshua. The word Yeshua and salvation comes from verb Yisha with a Yud Shin. Yesha. Yud Shin Ayin. Shin Ayin. The root of the word is 2 letters, Shin Ayin. And that word means to turn. Like it says, God turned to Abel's offering, right? To his offering. He didn't turn to Cain's offering, right? He accepted, meaning he accepted. But the literally means to turn. So here we have the beyond the helmet, which is beyond, the head, which is immanence of God, right? So the beyond and the immanence, right? This is the metaphor. And that brings salvation. Salvation means when God turns to you. That's salvation. So here God is taking that which is the Ein Sof, that's beyond, as it comes first to the head. And what's the head? Chachma first, the wisdom, divine wisdom, right there. So we have the union of the two coming together, as there is the union of the helmet on the head. And then that brings salvation. So literally means it saves the person, right? When they get hit in the head with, right, that it's a protection. That's in a literal sense. The metaphoric sense, it means the salvation is in God's turning. He's now turning with the spheres, the divine attributes that the Ein Sof is imbuing it, or making union with, and now he's turning that, bringing it down into this world. And what's he turning with? What's the salvation? The salvation is Shin Ayin, means salvation, meaning turning, right? Shin is 300, Ayin is 70. So if you take, what's he turning? Well, 370. 300 is 3 times 100. 3 is Chachma Bina Das, wisdom, understanding, knowledge. The intelligence of God times 100, right? In other words, it's the third dimension, if you will, or in the hundreds, versus 70, which is 7 times 10. 7 is 7 emotions. What's the makeup of the individual? 10 powers of the soul, 3 intellect, 7 emotions, right? So here 70 is 7 times 10. It's in the tens, not the hundreds. Hundreds is greater than tens because the head comes to the emotions in the heart. The head is to influence the emotions. So the hundreds come down into the tens, right? To influence. So here it means that God is turning, what's he turning with? All 10 attributes of God to imbue the individual in the act of being charitable. Amazing how this is so metaphoric in the verse in Isaiah. As it says, may God make his face, his innermost being, shine upon us. Shine upon us down here in this lowly world. That the divine light of God will be with us in the practice of our charitable deeds. And this is what it means, God, that he who sows charities brings about salvations. In other words, charity brings salvation, meaning salvation, again, means to turn. What's God turning with? Shin Ayin is the word to turn. Shin, again, 300 is the numeric value of 300. Ayin is the numeric value of 70. God is turning towards us with his divine intelligence, his divine emotions, funneling that to us in the act of being charitable to bring us long years, health, and wealth in the act of being charitable. So may God make his face shine upon you, that charity will endure forever. And when will it be truly experienced, that what we just said, or we just learned rather, in times of Mashiach? That we will truly then experience what we just learned in its fullest. Now we understand it with our minds, and our mind's eye can perceive the truth. But maybe soon that with our physical eye we'll perceive this truth. Any questions, any comments? That was pretty heavy duty. Hope you got it. Welcome, Akoy in Lima, Peru, Patricia in Ohio, Tim in Texas, Mordechai in Massachusetts, Julia is in Ohio, Sandy in Michigan, Jeff is in Michigan also, Michael in Germany, Carmen in Texas, Joseph in New Jersey, Navida and Liba in New York, Art is in Michigan, Joe in Washington State, Daphne, South Carolina. Who else is with you? Yohanan You have to remind me where, because I don't remember. John in North Carolina. Cindy in Florida. Nancy. You have to remind me. I forgot now. Eugenia's in Calgary. Ah, Nancy's in Boston, right? Rabiba's in Tangiers, Morocco. Darren in the Philippines. Rena in Colorado. Welcome back. Dana is in, oh my gosh, Washington, right? Chava is in Boulder, Colorado. Paul Grill. So good question. I was asking, if you give charity 10%, is it really that God will give back to me in abundance? Absolutely. And God even says you can test him on it. Try him out. We have Rachel in South Carolina. We have Michael with us. We have Livsha in Baltimore. Joe. Elizabeth is with us in. All right. Wonderful to have you all here. Sarah is with us. Okay, Rambam's coming up. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you